Hi, Team Persevere. Your teachers are so proud of you for all of your hard work during our nonfiction reading unit. So, we are going to use today to celebrate our successes and to also spend a little time reviewing some of the main concepts that we learned about in this unit. It's so important to celebrate our learning because your hard work has been noticed and you've learned so much. So, we're going to start off by sharing out. I would like you to share out something you learned during our nonfiction unit and type your idea to me privately in the chat. Pause the video. In this unit, you identified complex texts. You used strategies to read those complex texts and learned strategies to summarize text. You worked on comparing and contrasting two texts. That was a skill we reviewed yesterday with Miss Kerr. And you strengthened your research skills as you learned more about your chosen animals for your exhibit projects. Today, we are going to focus on summarizing complex text. This was one of the main strategies and skills we focused on during this unit. To summarize complex text, we need to determine the main idea of that text. Which this can be really hard because as the text gets harder or more complex, it can be difficult to figure out the main idea. There's a lot going on in these complex texts. There were some strategies we gave you though when text gets really complex. It's important to read all of the headings in the text, to look at pictures and captions, to look at text features, such as charts, diagrams, and maps. It's also important to summarize often, and you could take notes or kind of pause to make connections and talk about the text. And lastly, it's important to read the text slowly. So now we are going to read an article that I found, and the topic of this article is something I love very much. It's also something many of you love very much. And I want you to try and guess the topic of this article. Pause the video and put it in the chat. The topic of our article today is Baby Yoda. We all love Baby Yoda so much, and we are going to read an article all about him. The article is on Newsella, and that's a site that many of you have used before in school. And this article is titled Baby Yoda, Toys Are Finally Arriving. And this article was originally in the Washington Post, which is a really famous newspaper. And it was originally published on March 25th of 2020. So this was last March. So take that into account as we're reading. And your job is going to be to try and find the main idea of this article. And just like in our strategies, we're going to first focus on reading headings, pictures and captions, and looking at any text features. Let's do that first and give our best guesses to what we think the main idea is going to be. So I see this picture here. And the caption is The Mandalorian merchandise, whose release was delayed to avoid spoilers, makes its debut before Toy Fair New York. Heading, Baby Yoda toys. Heading, famous scene. Heading, keeping the character a secret. And that takes us to the end. So, right now, just by looking at those headings and text features, what is your best guess? What do you think this article is going to be about? Pause the video to discuss. Now we are going to read this article. And as I'm reading, I want you to be thinking of that question. What's the main idea of this passage? And at the end, you will need to come up with a short summary to support that main idea. This past holiday season, many people wanted Baby Yoda toys as gifts. There were none available, though. Star Wars fans have been waiting. The wait will be over this spring. Disney and Lucasfilms are the companies that make Star Wars and the TV show The Mandalorian. In February, they announced that Baby Yoda merchandise is coming soon. They gathered news reporters in New York City at a hotel. They showed off all the types of Baby Yoda toys. There were pajamas and pop sockets. The event showed off products from two shows. One is the Mandalorian TV series. The other is the animated movie Star Wars The Clone Wars. Many think these two Disney hits are the best of the Star Wars galaxy since Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Just after reading that first portion of the text, I already made connections here. So it was telling me that 2 holiday seasons ago, there weren't any Baby Yoda toys. And that makes sense because I know this past holiday season, just last month, there were lots of Baby Yoda toys. Many of you have actually mentioned or showed us the Baby Yoda merchandise you've received. And it's really gained popularity, and I've seen a lot of items in stores. So I can make a connection to this article through that. Let's keep reading. Baby Yoda toys. Everyone was at the toy event for mostly one reason. They wanted to see Baby Yoda toys. Baby Yoda became famous in the fall. Strangely, the new toys had not made it to stores by then. Baby Yoda's name is actually just the child. The character has not yet been named on the show. Fans have been calling him Baby Yoda. Yoda is a legendary Jedi Master in Star Wars. The child became a hit in November. After the show aired, the child became famous through memes and GIFs. A popular one showed the child sipping soup. On February 20th, the child was in many forms of toys. There were Baby Yoda Legos and action figures. There were also backpacks, hats, and shirts. Socks and wallets were shown too. Famous scene. In the first episode of The Mandalorian, there is a famous scene. In it, Baby Yoda reaches out of his capsule. He is reaching toward the Mandalorian as it has the cutest little finger. You can now buy a framed picture of this scene. Baby Yoda's capsule is for sale, too. It includes an animated Baby Yoda. The toy blinks and coos. A Build-A-Bear Baby Yoda will be available soon. It makes noises. If you squeeze its left hand, it makes baby noises. If you squeeze its right hand, the TV show theme song plays. Keeping the character a secret. Baby Yoda does not appear in The Mandalorian until the end of the first episode. The makers of the show wanted to keep the character a secret. The show creators wanted to surprise fans with Baby Yoda. The only way to do that was to not have toys made. Otherwise, people would see the toys online. The makers of the show asked Disney to wait to make toys. They wanted to wait until the first episode was released. This meant toys were not made in time for the holidays. Joanne McLaughlin works at Lucasfilm. She said some Disney parks will have Mandalorian themed stuff soon too. The Baby Yoda toys will be available to buy in March. So, after reading this article, what is the main idea of this article? Because we need to know that main idea in order to summarize. And as a hint, the main idea is deeper than just Baby Yoda. That's our topic here. But what is it telling us specifically about Baby Yoda? And think about some of the information we learned about kind of the timeline of these toys. Use that as your hint. Pause the video.